Greetings, my dark folk. Now, my last video I talked about things from the past as far as myself and experience in the vampire community, and I said I started hearing about the vampire community in 1995 or 96, despite the fact that I said I was initiating to a vampire coven in 1992, and what I'm talking about is a formalized vampire community, in which a subculture that was forming. You know, anyways, most people think that subculture today is had its roots when it comes to being formalized in 1995, 96, 97, 98, 99. All right. Now, a lot of us, prior to about 95 or 96, we either on our own trying to figure this out, or if we were lucky, like I was, ended up in a coven. And thanks to the people who was in the coven that I was in, I was able to meet and talk with other people that were vampires. So what was I doing prior to 1995, 1996, when I started hearing about the more formalized vampire community? I was engaging in a rather unorganized, informal community. Like the vast majority of people in the vampire community in the United States of America was doing back then, prior to 95, 96. We were pretty much in an informal community because there wasn't a lot of people out there knew about each other. A lot of people didn't know how to get in contact with other people who was going through what they were going through. A lot of them didn't even know what the hell they was going through. They had to figure it out on their own. That's a thing there. A lot of today's elders that were around in the 90s had to figure that shit out on their own. But again, from 92 to about 95, 96, I was in to the vampire community in the informal aspect. And we'd go to club. Me and members of the coven, we'd go to clubs. We'd have a good time. We'd meet other vampires. We'd talk. We'd discuss things. I mean, I went to New Orleans several times. Different places as well. And we'd meet up with people with vampires, and we'd at clubs, and we'd go hang out afterwards, talk and discuss things, hold rituals, stuff like that. So back from the early 90s up to about 95, prior to 95, everything was pretty much informal because we didn't have the internet like we have now. Hell, we didn't have the internet like we had it in 2000 with that damn dial-up. That was a big improvement for the community. Well, let's just face it, right? Even as aggravating as dial-up was, it was a major improvement for people that were looking for other vampires. So, what I said about me, you know, from 92 to about 95, 96, that is what a lot of people went through there. If they found a coven, or if they found others that were vampires, they had a small, informal community, right? They didn't have the big thing we have now that Genesis came about in 95, 96. We started getting hyper-organized and stuff like that. So, I'm going to put it like this. Between 92 and 95, 96, I was still engaged in the more informal vampire community. I mean, most people didn't even use the term vampire community when it comes to we were so informal. But when I started hearing the word over the internet about vampire community, and then so that I was like, vampire community? We're organized? That's what we're doing. Wait a second, we're organized? And then I started looking around. I was still, for a long time, I was still a member of the coven I was initiated to, but eventually I got to the point where I was able to split off from it and go my own way. And since then, I've studied and learned and developed my own path. But, again, my early days prior to 95, 96 was in a more relaxed, more informal type vampire community. It wasn't really organized. You didn't get kudos for showing up with an ankh on or anything like that. So it was prior to 95 was a very, very different form of vampire community. Not as organized as it started being from 95 on up. So if you went someplace like New York City, well, you just were out of luck if you couldn't find nobody. So, yes, it was a very, very different time back then. I really miss it. the informality of it. Not having to worry about, oh, he don't have his unk on, he ain't getting into here on with a discount. It's just totally different, more family oriented, less corporate oriented. That being said, I'm going to go.